Hey everybody, welcome back to Video Game Mess. So, Tarek, I got a video for you guys today that you have been asking about. That is because maybe 3 weeks to a month ago, a Wild Crash Bandicoot static recomp appeared on GitHub, and I did test that initial version of the game, and while it did actually run, it wasn't really running well enough for me to want to talk about on the channel, because even though I will show you work in progress builds of different static recomps and even PC source ports, however they're made by the developers, it definitely has to be something that I can sit down and have fun with before I'm going to talk about it on the channel, because that is the reality of basically all of these projects. The initial release is always going to have some bugs, and then the developers will fix them up as people play. But on the 1.0 release, the Crash Bandicoot static recomp just really wasn't doing enough for me to say I think people will have fun with this one. So I kind of tucked it into the back of my mind, and multiple people asked me about it, and somebody on Discord told me a few days ago that it had been updated to like version 1.6.1 and that it was showing a lot more promise. So I jumped in, decided to play it one more time to see if it was something I wanted to talk about, because you guys were curious, and that's why we're doing the video today. Before getting much further involved though, do me a huge favor down below, hit like and subscribe and ring that notification bell, definitely helps us out. And if you feel so inclined and want to support the channel, we got a Patreon link down below as well. But I still remember seeing the previews for Crash Bandicoot back when I was a kid, and it is the reason that I wanted a PlayStation 1 for Christmas. And honestly, I got it under the tree and I was absolutely stoked for all of about 22 minutes until it absolutely just grenaded itself and broke. Unfortunately, I had a defective unit and all of the polygons were basically corrupt after like 20 minutes of playing Crash Bandicoot. And because it was a popular item, it took like 3 weeks after Christmas to finally have an actual PlayStation 1 under the TV, because the store that it was purchased at, Sears, had to wait for more stock to come in. Needless to say, child me was very impatient. When I finally got Crash Bandicoot home on a PlayStation 1 that actually worked, I was stoked as hell. And that really is a true story, one of the best and worst Christmases all in about half an hour. But as far as this recomp is concerned, right now it is playable. You can get widescreen out of it. You can get rid of all of the wobbling of the textures, like 99% of it. So it actually is doing its job of being a Crash Bandicoot recomp. And for the people that care, this definitely has some Johnny 5 around the edges. It is LLM based, and it seems like that's how it is being made. As I've said before on the channel, if that's something that you don't like, that's cool. If it's something that you don't mind, that's also fine. I show you guys what's new, and I let you decide how you want to feel about it. But honestly, it's definitely improved a lot since I first took a look. I would say the controls are here, the responsiveness and collision is good, the graphics are doing what they need, and it really does feel like just playing Crash Bandicoot except as a static recomp. Which leads me into my next question and kind of topic of discussion, because I've been noodling around with the idea for a video. Of course, playing a PlayStation 1 static recomp is impressive, but if you go over to DuckStation and play something like Crash Bandicoot 1, you can definitely enhance it, you can get widescreen out of it, you can fix all the polygonal warping, so really you can kind of be one-to-one with what a static recomp is accomplishing. Now, of course, it's doing it in a completely different way, and you'll definitely need much less system resources to run something like a static recomp if coded correctly. It kind of is one of those things that you keep in the back of your mind. As impressive as anything is, sometimes you have to think to yourself, well, I could almost do that in DuckStation, which is definitely a common comment I see. But this one has an entire mod engine built in as well. Not sure if the community will really support that. And honestly, I don't see all that many Crash Bandicoot mods out there in general. If you have any to recommend, leave me a comment down below. But it really does make you think to yourself, what exactly can a static recomp deliver that something like DuckStation can't? Now, in some games, it definitely is something where the static recomp can improve upon it. Like Silent Hill, if you actually use enhancements there, you will freeze the game at certain spots because it just will not run with them. But other games like Crash Bandicoot here, you can get very close. But honestly, having options is always a good thing, and I'm not saying that a static recomp of the original Crash is a bad thing in any way, shape, or form. I'm just kind of talking about the fact that we have so many incredible ways to play PlayStation 1 games with enhancements that it kind of maybe takes 10% of the sheen or luster off something like this, just because it's almost close to what we have on emulation as well. But do leave me a comment down below and you tell me if you're interested in seeing that video, because I have a lot of thoughts on the topic. But honestly, as far as the Crash Bandicoot Recomp is concerned, it is playing, it is running, it is fun, and it has audio, so that's our soundtrack sample segue, and I'll be right back. I mean, that definitely sounds like Crash Bandicoot to me, but you tell me down below what you think of this sound, because I always love to mention on every video, it is the one thing where I usually miss issues, just because my brain and ears aren't really attuned to hearing the fine pitch changes and picking out when there are issues. But as far as the control latency is concerned here on the static recomp, absolutely no issues playing Crash Bandicoot whatsoever, and it definitely is still one of the harder games in my opinion on PlayStation 1. That is just because some of the platforming areas have some really tricky perspective, because don't forget this was still developers learning how to make games in 3D in the first place, and the fact that Naughty Dog did as good with Crash Bandicoot as they did back in the day is really a testament to how incredible that developer was, and clearly still making some incredible games to this day. But I still remember first playing this thing, unfortunately slightly after Christmas because of that broken PlayStation 1, and I still love this game to this day. It's one of those things, every single time I sit down and play it, I think I'm going to play for half an hour, 45 minutes, and inevitably by the end of the week I've beaten the entire game and 100%ed it again. It's just one of those titles that's been with me my entire life, and I always love checking it out. So having a static recomp that is running well now is definitely, in my opinion, a fun time, even if, like I said, you have the HD remake, you obviously have DuckStation. We have many different ways to play these games, and I would say right now, honestly, outside of Castlevania Symphony of the Night, the PlayStation 1 recomp, basically every PlayStation 1 recomp is very similar to DuckStation, and I would say the number one console that's seeing more improvements than emulation can provide would be N64, but there's a lot of PlayStation 1 games out there that definitely could be improved by this process with different control schemes like we just saw on Siphon Filter getting mouse and keyboard. But do tell me down below in the comments if you could snap your fingers and make one PlayStation 1 game show up as a perfect recompilation, which one would it be? Because I always love asking that question. You guys always come up with some really interesting answers, and there's always a lot of overlap as well, because a lot of people seem to want the same stuff. But if you want to play this one today, it is in the description below. It's very easy to launch. It comes with a launcher. You can set the settings in there, give it your disk image, and you're basically off to the races, ready to play something like a Crash Bandicoot static recomp. And that really is a fun time. And again, it's really interesting to me to see the amount of people who care about the Johnny 5 aspect of this and the people that don't. I would say right now it seems to be like a 90-10 split, at least the commenters I see, and the overall engagement. And I will always say, I let you guys decide however it is you want to feel. And I know a few people don't like that, but the reality of the situation is, it is up to you to feel however you want to, and that's totally cool with me. But it is another thing, like I said, I tried this when it first came out and just wasn't really up to par for me to talk about, because I want to make sure you can sit down and play something and have fun with it. It might not be perfect, it might still have bugs. We see that in many static recomps that are 100% made by hand as well, but everyone loves to jump in and kind of just see what's going on, how it's progressing, and kind of follow the updates from there. But that really is the fun thing about Crash Bandicoot in general. It is just such a memorable game, it is such a fun game, and it is so much part of my overall gaming history. One more soundtrack sample in an area with definitely more music than lights out, and I'll be right back with a bit more. So there you have it. There is a Crash Bandicoot static recomp for PlayStation 1 out now. In my experience, the graphics feel pretty buttoned up, the audio is working, the control is responsive, and you can play the game from start to finish. It even comes with a level unlock, so you can jump around and capture different levels, which is always fun for me personally, having to get this footage. I only noticed one issue in my playthrough, and it's something that I've seen in DuckStation as well. I think it's just down to how the game engine works. One level basically does not like to extend out to widescreen, and you get some polygonal duplication on the edges. But honestly, that's just something that is difficult for basically all PlayStation 1 games. They were never designed for widescreen, so getting them to work perfectly is definitely a task. But Crash Bandicoot is just one of those games. Every single time I play it, I love it, and every single time I see it in a video, I want to play it again. So if you want to check this one out, again, the link is in the description below. It's incredibly easy to play. Just bring your legally owned Crash Bandicoot copy along for the ride, and you'll be good to go. And I hope to see Crash Bandicoot 2 and 3 at some point in time, so we get a trilogy of recomps like we did with the remakes. But I'll see you guys next time. Bye-bye.